If you're a founder doing mid-6 to low 7 figures in revenue, and you're still the one answering emails, chasing invoices, putting out fires, and rescheduling everybody's calendar, this is for you. I don't know exactly why you started your business. Maybe you wanted to build a future for your kids. Maybe you wanted to escape a job that you really hated. Or maybe you just wanted to do work that actually matters. But I do know this. For your business to be the vehicle of that dream, it has to grow. And growth requires leverage. That means more results from less of your personal effort. The problem is that most founders are buried with low leverage work. Monday morning hits, you open up your laptop, and you're punched in the face by notifications, emails, customer complaints, messages from the team. Everything seems to be urgent, but none of it is truly important. Sean Covey actually calls this the whirlwind, the day-to-day that keeps the organization alive, but it doesn't really move it forward. Your real job as a leader is simple. Allocate resources where they create the most growth. Cash, tools, people are all resources, but the most important one that you have is your time. And your time should be spent on the biggest constraint of the business. That's the vision, strategy, key relationships, big decisions, but instead you're stuck in the weeds. That's a leverage problem. Now, this is usually where people discover the virtual assistant strategy. You hire someone, typically offshore, so that you could delegate all the repeatable, documented work that's eating most of your week. In theory, it's perfect. You save money by hiring internationally, and you buy back your time to focus on high-value work. But in practice, most VA hiring feels like a gamble. Nobody taught you how to hire. Most agencies stopped at resumes and quick interviews. And what most people don't remember is that the candidate actually wrote the CV, and anybody could be charming in a 30-minute Zoom session. On top of that, you add the time zone clash, the cultural expectations clash, and one bad experience is enough to make you swear off of the whole strategy. The problem is not the strategy of using virtual assistants to create leverage. The problem is how the strategy is executed. Now, if you want this to work like a system and not like a coin toss, you need more than a cheap hourly rate and a hopeful Upwork post. And for a lot of you, it's not just about email or calendar management. Some of you need founder-facing executive assistants to protect your time. But for others, it's more that you're drowning in delivery. Front desk, back office, billing, collections, onboarding, scheduling, customer support. And some of you need help more on the acquisition side. That could be processing leads, booking appointments, basic social media operations, and messaging customers on DMs. Our clients don't really use generic VAs. They use what I call virtual executive operators. We're not only hiring task takers. These are operators that you can actually trust with real parts of your business. And that's where METEOR comes in. We don't just find you a VA. We build and install a whole system to get the right operator in your business. And we do it in 3 parts. Step number 1, starting with clarity. We start off by having a short working session with you. And the idea is to identify what the North Star looks like. In that session, we map what's currently on your plate, what the role needs to own in the next 30, 60, 90 days, and what great actually looks like for this role. And that gives us a clear target for the search and the ramp. Then we do what we're actually the best at, which is talent acquisition. Step number 2 is that we run a comprehensive vetting process for you. Under the hood, we're really filtering for 3 main things, what we call the 3 C's framework. Number 1 is competence fit. We want to see if candidates are technically capable of doing the job. Number 2 is culture fit. We want to make sure that they'll fit your team culture and operation style. And number 3 is career fit. We want to make sure that in some way, shape, or form, this is a career progression for the candidate. Out of the thousands of applicants that apply in Latin America, we only truly progress the top 0.1% of candidates. We make candidates go through a series of assessments that match what we're looking for. We make them do test projects like event planning that allows us to see their project management skills, their communication skills, their budgeting, their research, SOP writing to see if they can document and improve processes, data analysis to see if they can handle reports, pull insights, give recommendations, not just move numbers around, inbox triage simulations to see how they would prioritize and organize emails, automation exercises to see if they can use artificial intelligence and tools like Zapier, Make to automate processes, and live calendar simulations to see if they can reorganize calendars based on priorities. We also make sure to test their English proficiency skills. That means reading skills, writing skills, listening skills, and speaking skills. We also look at other things like typing speed and accuracy tests. We also make sure to verify their internet stability and work home setup. We also run very comprehensive interviews where we further test their skills assessments, ask their career trajectory, and learn a little bit more about their career ambitions. And the way that we do that is we actually give them coaching on their work and see how they respond to the feedback. By the time you see candidates, you're not only looking at resumes, you're looking at proof of work. We package all that into a report and show you the top 3 to 6 finalists, each of them with videos, assessments, scores, and our personal notes. By that point, all of them could work, but you decide who you want to bring on board. Step number 3, employer of record hiring and ongoing support. Once you pick a person, we just don't toss you a contractor and wish you good luck. We actually hire them on your behalf through our legal entity and become the employer of record. That means that we take care of payroll, taxes, benefits, and anything that has to do with HR compliance. For them, it's a real job with stability and benefits. And for you, it's one clean US invoice as opposed to wiring money to random contractors overseas. and hoping contractors hold up. Then we offer ongoing support starting with the first 90 days. We help you by providing things like 30, 60, 90-day ramp-up templates, help them make sure that they're adapted to your world. We constantly check in with you and your operator, make sure that everything's working. And we also share frameworks, resources, and best practices. We also don't do any of the training or the day-to-day management. That's still a role that you get to keep. We just want to make sure that from an onboarding and system standpoint, you're not starting from scratch. With us, the idea is that you get both a playbook and a partner. So let me ground it with a few examples across different industries so that you can see how this actually works in practice. We work with business owners like Carlos, who is an insurance brokerage out of Arizona. His client base was predominantly Spanish-speaking, and finding bilingual and customer service staff for him proved to be a big challenge. We were able to place 2 team members to handle customer service. Within just a few weeks, both of these team members were ramped up, allowing Carlos to focus on more of a commercial line of business. He estimated that these team members were able to give them the bandwidth so that he could add an additional $5,000 to $7,000 a month in new business. This is just from the time and capacity that they were able to free up for him. And because of our cost structure, he was able to save roughly 40% compared to hiring people in Arizona. Kelly currently runs marketing and customer experience for Puro Air, the #1 air purifier brand in Amazon. They wanted an A+ customer service team to handle both the direct-to-consumer and marketplace customers 365 days out of the year. We helped them hire 3 high-performing customer service assistants through METEOR. These new team members were hitting 100% CSAT scores in just weeks, with customers actually calling them by name in the reviews. Now, Kelly not only gets to think about marketing a little bit more, but she also gets to think more about how she retains and grows the talents as opposed to replacing them. We also help people like Ashley, who run a 200-unit property management company. Her key admin gave her a 1-week notice, and her previous experience hiring virtual assistants were bad enough that made her very skeptical to try again. We were able to place a back office operator for her, and her words were, "It was like everything was taken off my plate." She didn't have to do any of the vetting of the candidates. The shortlist that we provide her had everything that she needed. In her case, she was able to cut that administrative salary in half, and at the same time bring someone that she would be gladly to pay more because of the talent that he had. That's what we're after. Real operators doing real work, integrated into your culture, without requiring US-level salary costs. Now, let's talk about numbers for a minute. The typical investment with us has 2 parts. First, a one-time placement and onboarding fee. That's typically between $2,000 and $3,000 upfront, depending on the skill level of the virtual collaborator. Second, an all-inclusive monthly rate. It includes salary, benefits, hour fees, and taxes, with most of our placements sitting between $2,400 and $3,000 a month. Sure, simpler roles could be a little bit lower, and more complex roles could be a little bit higher, but usually that's the average. The thing that's important here is that we want to make sure that regardless of the role, you're still saving 40 to 60% on labor costs compared to hiring domestically in the US. But the bigger question is what is this doing economically for you? So let's do a quick exercise recommended by Dan Martell to find your buyback rate. Essentially, what you have to do is you have to take your annual income and divide that by 2,080 hours. That is roughly a 40-hour work week. So for example, let's say that you're earning $100,000 a year. If you divide that by 2,080, your hourly rate will be roughly around $50. A good rule of thumb is to divide that number by 4. That way, you're getting a 4x return on your typical hourly rate. So with that example, your hourly rate would be closer to $12 an hour. That means that if you can hire someone that could do work at that hourly rate, you should hire them immediately. Now let's check out the ROI when you bring a virtual assistant on board. Let's say that your hourly rate is $50 an hour, and you hire an executive assistant that costs you $15 an hour. That means that for every hour that this person takes off your plate, you're actually saving $35. Now, let's pretend that this executive assistant is actually able to save you 20 hours worth of your work week, which is actually very typical for an assistant. That means that if they're giving you back 20 hours in your week, and each of those hours saves you $35, if you extrapolate that for a year, they're almost saving you $40,000 a year. Think about the last time that you made a decision that added $40,000 to your bottom line. And that's not even mentioning what you can do with those extra hours that you get. That gives you some more time to do more sales conversations, design better offers, fixing fulfillment, building new systems, opening other locations, and that's when you make the real money. Here's a few of the concerns that we typically hear from people. Number 1, I've tried this whole VA strategy before and it didn't work out for me. In my experience, most VAs fail for mainly 3 reasons: vague roles, weak vetting, and 0 ongoing support. I need help is not a job description. We fixed that up front with a clear North Star for the role, a very robust vetting process, and a 90-day onboarding plan that you don't have to start from scratch. Challenge number 2. The second question that we get is, what happens if I don't have enough work? Can somebody work part-time? I've had several conversations where business owners are asking initially to do just 5 to 10 hours a week. At METEOR, we don't really place part-time operators, but here's why. First of all, the talent pool quality collapses when you're offering part-time roles. That's because the best assistant candidates don't want to have to piece together multiple gigs to make up one full-time income. They actually want to work for a company that they can grow roots. Second, you're introducing a conflict of priorities by design. If they have to work elsewhere, they're always sharing their focus with another boss. And third, you're maybe creating problems for yourself in the future. The minute you want to transition this person from a part-time to a full-time position, you're kind of taking a bet of whether or not they're going to quit the other things that they have on their plate. And if they can't do that, that often means that you have to rehire, retrain, and start the process with another person from scratch. In our experience, when founders are a little bit more concerned about this is because they really haven't taken inventory of where their time is going. So when we ask them to do a time study, they start realizing all the other things that a virtual assistant can take off their plate. Once we're able to sit down with founders and really work this out, we're able to identify an additional 20, 30 hours worth of work that they didn't consider initially. And if you truly don't have more than 20 hours worth of recurring work every week, then we're probably not a good fit for you. If you do, going all in into one person yields way better results than splitting this up into different part-time hires. And the third comment that we typically get is that comparing to other virtual assistant agencies out there, we seem to be a little bit more expensive. Compared to other generic virtual assistant companies, yes, we're more expensive. We're not interested in selling you $5 an hour task runners. We're placing high caliber operators in your time zone with real employment and benefits. At the same time, in every single placement that we've done, our clients are saving 40 to 60% compared to hiring domestically in the US. That means that you're saving thousands of dollars each month in labor costs, but not compromising on the quality of the talent that you're bringing into your company. If your main goal is to find the cheapest labor, then we're not a good fit for you. But if your main goal is to truly free yourself to work on growing the company while a high caliber operator takes on the real work, then that's where we sit. So if you're still watching, here's what to do next. Click the button near this video and fill out a short application. It usually takes about 3 minutes. Tell us a little bit about your business, your current team, and what you want off your plate. On the next page, you'll be able to see a calendar where you can book some time with us. Just pick a time that works for you and our team will review your application. On the call, we'll be mapping your ideal operator profile and we'll also set a price range based on that profile. And if it's a fit, we'll schedule your working session and start the search. And once again, if your business is making under $500,000 a year or you don't have more than 20 hours worth of work to delegate, we'll probably just tell you to wait. But if you're within that revenue range and are plateauing your business because of bandwidth and are serious of buying back your time and de-bottlenecking delivery, get in touch with us, click on the button, fill the form, and we'll talk to you soon.